The question, I suppose, was, is Prince Harry actually a good spokesman for it? Or does he harm that cause, right? If you want to advance that agenda, in my view, someone who chose to leave this country and comes back when he likes, not for the death of his grandfather, but, for some celebrity appearances, someone like that is actually a bad spokesman for an agenda. And if you believe, as I see you passionately do, and I respect that passion, if you believe in that issue and that agenda, don't you look at that and think this is a bad champion for it?
I don't think he is a spokesman for climate
change.
He was invited.
Just on the stage at the UN.
But I would say this as well. When I see the problems of climate change, I think the problem of climate change being people around us. You want people to speak about it. I expect everyone who goes home tonight will speak about how hot it is and ask why that is. They would ask why we are seeing more extreme weather events. I myself used to work in East Africa in Somaliland. The most severe drought in living memory I was there for, when infant mortality spiked. The spokesman then for climate change wasn't Prince Harry. It was those people who unfortunately died.
Yeah,
were still dying
but they don't have a platform
and
on
I'm
stage.
Saying that...
Yeah, but they don't have a platform on stage. Listen, I'm not defending Prince Harry because I think that it's woeful and he shouldn't really... I don't like the fact that he gets involved in these. But from what you said, I'm picking up that when you have somebody like that who is bringing attention to an issue that you feel passionately about, I would have thought that you would be thinking this is a good thing.
Well, I think anyone who can bring attention to it. But my other view is that actually Prince Harry being there or not being there wouldn't have made any difference. I don't think, for example, if Prince Harry had not spoken up at the UN today, or indeed had we not discussed it today, people wouldn't have been talking about climate change. People wouldn't have been talking about that because everybody tried and suffered.
But is talking about the weather the same? Is talking about the weather the same as talking about climate change?
I think we are starting to have this discussion. I think one thing I really welcome today was when you look at the BBC News' coverage, they said this was the result of man-made climate change.
No, but hang on,
it was great to kind of get to that point.
But you see, that is a very wide thing to say that this particular weather is specifically because of man-made climate change. Because the climate would probably change in any case. I don't know how much impact man has on this changing of it. And I think that's a very broad brush. If they actually said that, that's incredible. Because I don't think that anyone could 100% prove that that is why the weather is this way. How can anybody actually prove that?
Well, look, if I was trying to do the comms for climate change, I might, one, not think about Prince Harry as my advocate, and two, I wouldn't go around with headlines saying, this is the first time we've ever used this ultra-extreme heat warning, when it was actually only introduced last year by the Met Office. So there's all this suggestion that it's this incredible new, once-in-a-lifetime, red hot button kind of DEFCON 1.5 experience. And actually, they only introduced it last year, and people aren't stupid. People can realise it's very hot. People can indeed realise that it may well be informed by man-made climate change. But if you tell them this is the worst ever and it's the first time we've ever had to use this warning, and then they realise you introduced that warning system last year, it reduces their trust in it completely. And
also, there are scientists who might say something slightly different to you as well. And a lot of those scientists that you're talking about are possibly funded by people who ultimately they're going to say that there's climate change.
I find it quite strange because on the one hand we start this conversation saying why is Prince Harry invited to speak when he's not an expert, and then when the actual experts, when the huge majority of consensus comes forward, you then say no, they're not experts at all.
I didn't say that. That's not true. I did not say they're not experts at all. That's not what I said. You've actually changed my wording to suit what you're trying to say. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that some experts say that, but not all of them.
I'm saying
so I'm saying that the premise that you've set, that it's definitely man-made climate change, I'm saying you cannot say that, you cannot prove that. Because there are those who would not agree with you. So I'm saying there are two sides to the statement that you've just put forward.
When 99% of people are on one side, 1% on the other side, I think actually you end up moving towards the 99%.
Well, you can.
That's where the
You're welcome to, but there is a 1%
and I'm saying
and
this
there's
as
a
well.
different...
The thing about kind of this specific weather event, what we are seeing is more extreme weather events coming time and time again. 10 of the hottest years on record since 2002. These things aren't a coincidence. We're seeing these droughts happening time and time again.
Yes, but perhaps but I'm saying that perhaps the climate might change in that way anyway. You don't know that it wouldn't. So you saying that it's definitely man-made climate change, you don't know whether the climate would have changed. And this climate has been through different... We've had an ice age, we've had this, we've had that. There are so many different ages. We don't even understand. So for you to say that, oh, yeah, it's definitely man-made, I think, well, the climate may have gone in this direction anyway. Well, there are elements of it that obviously naturally would occur. We may have some influence. How much we have, I don't know.
Yeah, we had a medieval warming period and people thought the climate was changing because of their sin. You can get very metaphysical about it, but I accept that the majority of the science definitely points towards man-made action affecting this.
Yeah.
My dual point is that when you say to people it's not up for debate, then the kind of irritated side of you will always say, well, who are you to tell me I can't debate? And the second thing is, I just think if you do want that message, they're not selling it at all well.
Yeah, final word to you, go for it.
Well, look, I think we are clear where we are sitting in terms of these man-made events. I think it's clear we have to address it. And I think this is an existential crisis that faces us. And I'm looking, well, I hope today that our politicians today do try and address it. And I think last night, again, we didn't see in that Conservative leadership debate a huge focus on what we need to do.